Hello, small groups. Good morning. It's still morning when I'm doing this. Happy day, whatever time of day it is when you are watching this. It's beautiful weather today, and so I hope you're able to enjoy these fall temperatures. It's so nice, isn't it? Reminding us that God is with us and the changing of the seasons. So this week we are continuing to look at the Disney movie Inside Out, and this week we're looking at sadness. Sadness is one of those hard emotions that we would rather jump over and pretend like doesn't exist, yet it's one of those important emotions that we need to recognize and also work through together. So our scripture for this week was from the book of Exodus, chapter 16, verses 2 through 15, I believe. So I encourage you to reread that story and see how the people are grumbling. They are sad because they are missing everything that was. They are grieving that they're not in control, and they are sad. And so it comes out through their grumbling as they complain. They complain about not having enough food. They complain about wanting to go back to Egypt. And so we see that God hears them, and God responds. God provides that manna from heaven, and God provides quail as well. And so we're reminded that God understands our sadness, and God works with us, doesn't chastise us for being sad, but loves us and comforts us through our seasons of sadness. And so I just encourage you this week to think about, are you in a season of sadness right now? COVID-19 just feels like there's a cloud. I heard someone else describe it as there's just a low hum constantly in our lives. And so sometimes it overtakes us, that anxiety, that fear, that sadness kind of overtakes us. And it's hard. It is really hard, friends. We are grieving so much. We're grieving the holidays are not going to be exactly the same as they've ever been before. We don't know what Christmas is going to look like. We might not be able to travel and be with family and friends. Likely it's going to be different. I was already thinking about for Thanksgiving having some higher risk family over, and if they don't feel comfortable, maybe doing it during the day outside. And so again, it's just going to be different. So keep taking those deep breaths and know that you are not alone. In those seasons of sadness, when it gets to be too much, please reach out to help. I am here for you. So many professionals here for you. So please reach out. Know that you are not alone. So think about, how do you usually deal with sadness? Are you a person who tries to suppress it and pretend like sadness doesn't exist? Is it something that sadness kind of hits you like a truck every once in a while and kind of leads you to be crying in inopportune times? Not that there are, of course, we all need to cry, but sometimes we feel like find ourselves weeping over something that we're not really sad about. It's usually other things that we're sad about. That's how I usually am. As a pastor, sometimes you just get through funerals, and sometimes especially, just a little secret, we grow to love you all really a lot. And so when we do funerals for people who are unexpected passing, or just people that we really care about, those are really hard for us as pastors. We know they're really hard for you as beloved family members and friends too. And so it's often after those funerals that I find myself weeping while listening to a song or watching a movie that's not that sad. It just kind of comes out at those times. So how do you deal with sadness? Or is it something you're able to work through with people who you love? Are you able to express what's going on? Are you able to tell a loved one what's going on? I hope that you are, and know that you're not alone. That is, I think, what sadness does teach us, especially in the movie Inside Out, is that you're not alone. You are not alone. We're not meant to go through this life alone. Job's friends in Job chapter 2 model for us what we're supposed to do when we have a friend who is going through really hard times. We are supposed to go to them and sit with them on the ground and weep with them for as long as it takes, and just be that listening ear, not to say nice, like this, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Allergies are wonderful, aren't they? To say those platitudes, to tell them that they're going to get through it. I mean, yes, they are going to get through it, but sometimes they just need to be sad. And so how do we just go and sit with people and not try to make it better, but just be with them and be there with them as they work through things? So that's what we're called to do. to reach out for help when we are in times of sadness, and to be there for friends and loved ones when they are in times of sadness. At the end of the sermon, I gave that illustration of a box with a pain button off to the side and a ball in the midst of our grief. That ball is huge. It touches every side and is constantly touching that pain button. And usually over time, that ball gets a little bit smaller. And so that pain button might be hit a little bit less, but it's just as painful, and it hits at times we're not expecting it. And so I hope that that is helpful as you think about your grief, your time of sadness. And again, friends, reach out for help. I'm here for you. We have on our website a link to support groups in our area. There are many wonderful support groups that are just there to remind you you're not alone. So friends, know you are not alone. You are beloved. And prayers for all of us as we work through sadness together. Thanks, friends, for joining me.